Maryland State Senator Brian Frosh, Democrat from Montgomery County. Senator Frosh, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
You know, yesterday we had a really lively discussion with our listeners over the fact that the governor is pushing through this ban on the repeal of the death penalty in the state of Maryland, yet at the same time multiple new restrictions on gun ownership. And a lot of our callers saw the two of those mixed together, basically sending the message to residents of Maryland that, we don't necessarily trust you to defend yourself with your own gun. And by the way, if something horrible happens, the criminal will get to spend the rest of his life in jail instead of face execution. How do you respond?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the gun bill. This is a common sense bill that'll save lives. We're talking about restricting the possession of the kind of assault weapons that resulted in mass killings in Newtown, Connecticut, Aurora, Colorado, Tucson, Arizona. You see it play out all over the country. The most important thing probably in that bill is the fact that we can cut out straw purchasers. That is, the folks who are buying guns for felons, people who are prohibited by law from owning handguns by virtue of having committed a crime in the past. We know that states like New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Connecticut reduce gun violence rates by dramatic amounts when they have people get a license first. And so we can save lives through two different directions. You restrict the number of rounds in a magazine,
right,
to 10. You reduce the amount of assault weapons that are out there and unaccounted for. And 3, you prevent criminals from using handguns.
All right, so I hear you on that, but you know what? Look at it from the perspective of people who have followed the law. They are legal gun owners in the state of Maryland. By the way, Not easy to own a gun in the state of Maryland. You got to go through quite a few steps. Already, it's pretty tough. And so you have these people who
background check. That's about it.
There are. Well, listen, I'm telling you, it's some of all. Nobody would quibble with the fact that already some of the most restrictive gun laws in the nation. But just make my larger point here: people who do it by the book are not the problem. And so what you do is you continue to add onerous burdens on people who are going to follow the law, and yet we know that most violent gun crime that is carried out in Maryland and elsewhere around the country is carried out by people who will never register their gun and never follow the rules, no matter how many rules you put on them.
Well, I mean, the point of this bill is to prevent them from getting guns, and it'll do that.
But they won't follow the rules.
It's not a question of them following the rules. The question is, if you're a criminal, how are you going to get a gun? You got to find some intermediary to get it for you. And what this bill does is it stops that intermediary from doing it. And it doesn't put a big burden on gun owners. First of all, if you already got one and you possess it legally, you don't have to do anything. So it puts no additional burden on you. What it does is it stops the girlfriend of the felon from going to a gun store and buying him one, bringing it home, and putting it on the nightstand.
Well, but it also prevents the girlfriend, the actual girlfriend, of going out and getting a gun and protecting herself with it.
No, it doesn't.
Well, sure. If you're saying that she can only have 10 rounds in the gun. What if she wants to protect herself with a multi-round magazine, which a lot of people do?
Well, she's a lot. The odds of her hurting somebody in the household other than an invader are much higher if she has a magazine clip of 30. I mean,
that's based on what? I don't think that's comfort to the woman who wants to have as much defense as possible.
We heard from a woman today who said that she was denied the ability, and she lives in the district, I'll admit, but she was denied the ability to defend herself in a rape situation because the gun laws were so burdensome. And we have very burdensome laws.
In Maryland. She's living in the District of Columbia.
I know, but let's be honest about it.
In Maryland, really. In Maryland, she can go out, she can buy a handgun, she can use it for her self-defense.
All right, but as long as it keeps 10 bullets or less in the magazine, so hopefully the home invader will not be able to count to 10 and then know when she is unarmed, I guess.
Well, hopefully, she's well enough trained so that 10 rounds is enough. I mean, how many times do you know of a home invasion where it took 30 rounds to stop an intruder, where somebody successfully stopped?
But why do you get to decide what I need?
I'm sorry?
Why do you get to decide what I might decide I need to make myself feel safe?
Well, look, if if you heard the testimony of Mark Kelly, who was Gabby Giffords' husband, about what happened in Tucson, you would know that the first round went into Gabby Giffords' head.
You're talking about a crazy man here, not a legal gun owner.
Hey, hang on, guys. I mean, you got to talk. Give him a chance. He fired 33 rounds. He had a Glock 19 with a 33-round magazine. He struck people 33 times. The 13th bullet killed a 9-year-old girl.
Nobody denies that, but he was a crazy man.
Yes.
And he didn't.
So why don't we focus on making sure that crazy people can't get guns?
We do that in the bill too.
Yeah, but you also, in the process, make it very burdensome for those people who are not crazy, who just want to obey the law and feel comfortable about their ability to defend themselves in their own home.
Well, I mean, if you don't feel comfortable with 10 rounds in your magazine, you're probably not good enough with it to use 30 rounds.
You know what? We'll let that statement stand on its own, State Senator Frosh. Thank you. Just inform our audience, if you can, really quickly, where does this bill now stand? Has it gone out of the Senate yet, and is it on the governor's desk?
Yes, it's passed the Senate. It's in the House.
And didn't it hit a snag with the House? Where does it stand right now with the House?
The House Judiciary Committees and Health and Government Operations Committees have it under consideration. I don't know that it's hit a snag. I think they're getting ready to vote on it next week.
All right, Senator Frosh, I really do appreciate you joining us. It is always good. It's difficult sometimes for us to get people who know that we're going to disagree with them, and I very much appreciate you joining us, and hopefully this won't be the last.
Thanks for having me back.
Thank you, sir. Maryland Senator Brian Frosh from Montgomery County.